Good morning. It's spring here. This is the first talk I give this year. Let me share what I think about something in Buddhism. Last month, in my mind, it suddenly come out the word spring. So spring is a word that in Buddhism carry a lot of meaning. This word S-T-R-E-A-M not been using too much in the Western world, talk about life pattern. But in Buddhism, this carry a lot of meaning. I just suddenly come up in my mind. So this word, it already matured in my mind that carry that meaning into more solid and sequence in a whole. So I quickly write it down in the map to form these two maps to bring the teaching. Firstly, I want to say is when you are a Buddhist, then you may have that kind of faith, talk about samsara, or talk about rebirth, and talk about renewal of life. Means life from the past come to present and go to the forward. It's always moving, but moving without anything that mentioned by the Western world about religion or about something we think about, have something solid, migrate from here to there, still that kind of pattern. In Buddhism, we don't have some kind of pattern that fixed by what we understand. But we have something talk about like power line, carry the electric, it always moving bubble that formation or energy always moving forward to make change. But sometimes it's shortcut. But if not shortcut, it's still, when we observe it very detailed into what is that condition about, then we may think this is a vibration. Only we can see the vibration. But from the life itself in this body, it's always like that. Something changing without any basic. The basic foundation always change. You can't see any ascendant. And we talk about the mindset also like that. Mind have no basic at all. It's always changing. So the Buddha used the word of string to talk about this. So when I analyze this word in what I learned from academic and learned from my own study in the teaching, then I found they talk about life have two ways to go. I mentioned these two extremes. One is to here, one is to there, from this string of life. So the first one I want to say, you see, I mentioned string of desire. That is our mind and body. We can show the string. Maybe we talk about this is a karma. Yeah. So karma is like the mind and body. We add it together to take all the food, take all the oxygen, everything conditioned to supply to this body nutrite to this body to form energy. So the energy, what we can show the energy is show from 5 senses: desire, contact, pay attention, and to exterior, carry on burning in the senses contact. And then carry on, another thing is form the 5 hindrances that Buddhism named all the feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness in the mindset. Spiritually, they have only these 4 things: strength, bubbling, moving forward. To form what we talk about, this is our soul, this is our mind, this is our spirit, or this is what the energy we carry on in the mindset itself and to the body present by your action. So the body contact and the mind action, only this desire stream. Moving on. Secondly, we can make it more detailed. Is something that we see have something going on there, exists something. The exists when Buddha talk about this 4 skandha. If we want to say that is existing, then we may talk about what existing means. So he mentioned about 3 existing. So these 3 existing, if you check it, we talk little bit detail. This existing is named by the 4 or 5 realms of existing. Is the samsara. The mind pattern to form animal, hungry ghost, heaven being, human being, and then asura. They form all these different character of mindset and bodily set. Form this what we call the habitual pattern. Wholesome habitual pattern, unwholesome habitual pattern. According to what you can name, you put your label into it. If we go to the mind very detailed, then you can see they pop up all these things. Is from the perception, mental formation, we can see sometimes jealous idea, sometimes greed idea, sometimes anger, sometimes it is this and that. You can name it. All this perception, mental formation. Right now it's more active, more excited because we have small machine, connected to the whole world. Before my world and Dan Ye's world, we only use senses contact mostly. Machine is not distant enough to the whole world. But right now, the small machine, 5G right now, there's contact everywhere. You can skylight to, we get all the information. So the mental formation become mental fabrication. It's more active to bring this information compact. So to make the mindset uncontrollable hindrances. That is what I call that obstacle for the mind. To make shortcut. Shortcut of what? Mindfulness or awareness. Your mindfulness is not easy to recall back. Say, I want to be mindful, attention to and fixed object. This becomes very, very difficult for this nowadays life, especially young generation. So I talk this about desire ring, existing ring, and then something is a mystical ring. Mystical realm is people give you some idea, you remember that idea. Oh, that is the teaching of God. Oh, that is the teaching of this and that. But cannot found in the appear or existing realm, but still idealistic. He grabbed that level into a faith, but he cannot investigate exteriorly and mentally that is existing, because that pop-up is very fast to form something existing. You cannot concentrate, you cannot stop your mind, you cannot penetrate to it. See, this mind become very strong problem. And then we talk a little bit about what we can name it, that is the viewpoint. Everyone have his viewpoint. You know, when someone preaching like me give a talk, you know, did I tell the truth? No. Viewpoint. Everyone can give your viewpoint. You know, that is something we pick up from our memory or our direct experience. So mostly direct experience is not much we can find, but carried by memory. So this memory, what I can name for of it is the 4 distortion viewpoint. Or in Buddhism, we talk about confusing long views. It's not by your direct experience, but by memory from very childhood that give you some idea about this and that. We've been educated in the school, in our family, in the society. Some is not by educated, it's from your own habitual pattern in the past life bring to this present life. Last night, Kunshi Shifu, she, WeChat me one video set. I go and watch. A chicken is a music thing that piano. You know, chicken know how to use piano. I have a lot of my chicken there. I hope train him. He can do that. Oh, it is amazing. It's not about this. It's about his memory. You know, he just have some connected to his sound, can familiar, have that habitual pattern, so can pick up easy. So everyone have his professional in the past, different kind of professional, wholesome, unwholesome from the senses point. That is what Buddhism talk about, life pattern. So one very difficult, we call that ignorance in Buddhism. This is very, very detailed and confusing. You know, ignorance is not mean by you don't know. Ignorance sometimes is very clear, but you just cannot make right decision to something about knowledge, about faith, or about viewpoint. You cannot decide to have right mindfulness, pick up from the right attention, pick up the right thing, object. So sometimes we talk about, oh, I have my faith, you have your faith, we go to interfaith, a lot of different faith. We make harmony. You know, we don't try to disturb each other. But in my common sense, that is something that we try to make things, accept each other. But from the how to purify your own self, how to overcome problem. If you have long view, you need to overcome anger, you need to overcome greed, if you need to overcome jealousy, or you need to imbalance your mind and body. Very difficult because wrong view. Because of this ignorance. You see, you don't know how to doing work for your mind. It's not easy to overcome problem. Then I have one word that Buddha mentioned is Dharma spring. He talked about the 4 kinds of spring in the life existing, and this is what we are in the samsara. That he talked about how you can overcome the samsara, ceasing all this pattern in order that your life have more free from the body to the mind. It's possible, but you need to come to spring antler. So talk about Dharma spring. And then he talk about Dharma spring, then come to 4 kinds of joy from here. Talk about joy. You know, Buddhism, we talk about the 4 kinds of spring in the above what I mentioned. That is called dukkha. And then they mention about sukha, mean spiritual joy and releasing joy. They talk about from relaxing joy, means something you already, let your hand go. You're letting go. Wrong view, ignorance, existing or desiring, hindrances that you already slowly let go in order you have more aware. Aware is from mindfulness. Lots of trainings on mindfulness, standing, mindfulness, you have a fixed object. Sitting, you have a fixed object of mindfulness. Walking, you have fixed object when you're walking. Lying down, when you have a fixed object to stop your mind carry on these streams pop up from the mind, you breath. So you concentrate and you can seizing all this energy, distort your own mindfulness. This is called awakening. So awakening from lying down is very, very challenging. I still put a lot of effort. So monk sleep is very different from normal people sleeping. Normal people sleeping, they have a lot of dream, they have a lot of, grabbing until he totally give up, tired, then fall asleep. Fall asleep, then the mind excite again, grabbing the mind information in the memory again. Monk is not going that way. I am a monk that find a way to stay myself very special, very different. So I focus in my stomach. I put something very hard right now, put a lot, about 60 pounds. So my stomach, the tight pulling, it's very strong. So that formation just grab the mind here. In the first, mind still lots of thinking, a lot of bubble, but knowing something here is a bubble. So we're balancing 2 bubbles there. One is existing of the body. We still carry it to the body. So I'm not fully sleep in the mind, but sleeping without away the body. And then slowly, when this concentrating, so doing more into the practice, so the mindfulness means more clear and earthen in the body than the mind formation. The mind formation become more blur, so that clear is the in here, aware to the body formation. Less, we call that ceasing, less the bubble in the mind stream. Then slowly, almost, if you want to dream, you really wake up. I don't know why it's like you very alert, like mindfulness training. Don't let the senses contact become active. Let the contact of your footstep become active. That mindfulness is bringing into the dream. When you want to dream, know that, that's it now. It's already mind recover of the tiredness. You need to wake up. You see? So I have a lot of time in 24 hours because I know how to handle by mindfulness training. You see, so when I want to say this, I talk this samana joy. Yesterday when we go to the interfaith in what is that?
The Hindu.
Yeah, Hindu temple, and that they worshipping the Sai Baba, one of the Sama, one of the Samana. He says Swami. Yeah, Swami is his word. Swami means someone who individual, not married, but keep his life to practice and serve others. This is called Saman. Saman is like yogi. I name it yogi. You know? Very spiritual life. I know this holy man when I'm in Malaysia, 1973. So he is a holy man, large of secret power in his mind. He can check your mind. His hand pick up like this, in his finger, some powder will come down. Lots of secret power in this life. So he have a lot of followers. Yeah, I think many million followers. And then the whole life he do a lot of hospital training, doctor building school, help the children. Lots of work he already done. The whole life very pure. He teaching the heaven happiness. Talk about non-violent, talk about truth, talk about related to God. Lots of things that is from him. So when we go there, and then we meet each other, talk about the value. Lots of value is very similar from the Indian culture to Buddhism. But I just listen all this. I cannot find something very true teaching mentioned by the Buddha. Why? Because Buddhism already ceasing from India. So they cannot find this reformer to keep religious reform in India. What is that message mean? So Buddhism already, mixed with his culture. Cannot take out why Buddha is founded the truth in India, and what kind of truth he already found there is different from the teaching of God. Because teaching of God is from the West come to India when alien, races, alien people come to India and start the teaching of God, and then Indian themselves have the samana means the yogi culture to found something is humanity. What is the training of humanity? If we don't need the help of God, we don't need that labor to guide us, what can we do to have yourself awakening, guided by something else? So the Buddha talk about mindfulness training, talk about samatha and vipassana, how to bring this samatha and vipassana, skillfully train yourself so you become your own island, you become your own refuge. You don't need to take refuge to others. This is what I talk about, reformer of Indian civilization. When they come to China, then explain very well, because Chinese people is Confucianism, the art of war, always talk about human, talk about politics, talk about leadership, not mention too much about God and other creatures can make any changes in their country. They need to organize, they need to leadership to govern it better by humanity. So when Buddhism come to China, then you can see a lot of things taught by Zen Buddhism, Chinese Buddhism. They talk about Nibbana, the joy of Nibbana. Similarly, in India, they have that information. A little bit I want to give further. Here is something I mentioned. It's karma. The word karma. Until right now, I really have the confidence in karma, because something I want to change, not easy to change my own behavior. I'm hot temper. Hot temper means you're doing things very fast, and you ask yourself responsibility, and you ask yourself for this, take a part of the workmanship, doing things better. You see, that kind of habitual pattern is very strong. So sometimes if I see something there not been done, I will have burn, I need to find some time and finish it. Like that. I'm not going to delay anything. Yeah. That makes my personality easy to succeed, because I don't delay my work. But when I see sometimes they are not burning very steady, I will say, oh, this is good. You don't have that kind of pop up. You see things, but you ignore yourself to involve, to stand by. Then you can have a break. You see, the two side extreme. So I can see a lot of personality that, they have a lot of good things you can learn it from. You see, so that is not something I have my habitual pattern. In the past, I only see the dust with someone, unperfect thing. You can blame them from someone, but I didn't see their good thing. Their good habitual pattern. But right now, my personality and mindset totally changed. Easy to compromise, easy to unity, and then learn a lot of how to make things work better by seeing goodness of someone. And my own mouth too, right now become less complaint, less discernment in the mind, and then less gossiping. And sometimes I know something is not right, but I just smile and don't I stop my mind, don't let it process that discrimination. That mindful become more strong, so that I can see habitual pattern can work by mindfulness to make change. Unless the mindfulness is not there, your attention is not in the right object, then your discrimination, your fabrication of mind, your perception is processing because of this, and then the feeling is not feeling to the body. So from there on, I see the energy of karma. I have confidence in this. In this life, we can still make more processing into purifying the bad habitual pattern I don't like. See? So I think in this coming years, moving on, I will be changing my life more easy than before, because right now my state of mindset become more easy, more clear and evident compared to the back of my life, the past. So here is something I said, the string of karma. The second is noble string. The Buddha always talk about. They have the fruit, not only the path. We follow the teaching into practice means we follow the path. But it did not only talk about the path, they talk about the fruit. Means that this is the goal. This is the right experience you can touch into, and you can come to this destination to get rid of something. So that is two things need to get rid of. Is one is talk about cut. The second, they talk about cessation. Cut means you cut it sometime, but it come back again, like a shortcut in the current, electric shortcut. It will come back again. But when we talk about cessation, means you cannot find it anymore. It totally disappears. Like that. And when I want to say this, the perception in my mind, compare this 10 years when I sit there and then do meditation and recall back my memory in this 10 years. Anything's not appear into the mind, the perception or any idea, any viewpoint not appear in my mind. What I can name is jealousy. Totally gone. This perception is when I see things, when I compare to anyone, success man come to me, wealthy man, lucky man come to me, so I can face into, more famous people in my life. So that is the same, this and that. I don't have that jealous. At least these 10 years, I move back to the past. When I see jealous, little bit jealous, my head will go, why this mindset cannot see himself, in jealous? When I see lady and lady together, they're jealous to each other. Why? Not make sense. Only you can find this is, he is not mindful that moment. You see, so cause and effect, then I remember my teacher teach me 4 foundation of mindfulness, what he mentioned about. Right mindfulness, right knowing. Right mindfulness, right wisdom. Right mindfulness, right knowing is the path. You apply mindfulness just here and now in the training of the path. And right mindfulness, right wisdom means you already come to the fruit. It's very nature. You don't have to pay attention. You don't have to recall the mindfulness. It already become awareness. Things come to your mind, you directly penetrate to it by wisdom. So the mind is very pure and no dust at all when it sharpening into the contact point or object. That is what I, remember my teacher talk about mindfulness training have 2 ways to go in the noble spring. Thank you. That is something I want to share with you all in the springtime. I hope this will give you some make sense to you. So thanks again. May you be peace and happy. May you be diligent, put more right effort into the training of mindfulness practice. Thank you.